and Gio.
BT and Sal.
Kevin and Tiki. Keith McPherson, your nighttime host on The Fan.
On The Fan.
On The Fan.
On The Fan.
It's WFAN Daily, hosted by Pete Hoffman.
Well, that was an interesting ending to the New York Yankee game as they won in Minnesota 10-9. But let's be fair here, okay? The New York Yankees were up 10-1. 10-1 in the fourth inning. And in the fifth and sixth innings, they gave up 7 and then turned into 8 unanswered runs to the Minnesota Twins. And they nearly gave this game back and almost went to extra innings. But thankfully, in the end, the Yankees were able to basically fight off whatever Minnesota Twins were trying to do to come back in this game. But, Schlittler did not have the best game. He went 4 2/3, gave up 4 runs. Yarbrough came in, gave up 4 runs. But it was just the fact that you have a huge lead, a 10-1 lead in Minnesota, and you basically tried to give it back to the Twins, a team that yesterday you got punked by, lost 7-0. And in this game on Tuesday night, you have a 10-1 lead. It's an easy victory, smooth sailing, and then all of a sudden you hit this just wall, and pitching just becomes what it's been lately, which is lackluster at times. Cam Schlittler's young, so no one's sitting there and saying that Cam Schlittler's he lost it, now he's no good. But it wasn't the smoothest outing for the kid. Let's be serious. He's had some really good outings. He had 5 walks, though. 5 walks against the Twins. You can't do that. They scored 9 runs off of 9 hits. 9 runs off of 9 hits, the Twins scored. But how many walks? 5. 5 walks by Schlittler, and that's way too many. And it's one of those things where in the big leagues, even in the little league, if you walk somebody, that run's probably going to score. That guy on base is probably going to score. That's usually how it goes. And that's kind of the case here. You walk guys, they score runs. But, just almost an utter, I don't want to say collapse because it's just one game, but what a way to blow it if that's the case. And then, you have Yarbrough come in here, and he gives up 4 runs in a blink of an eye. Leiter, semi-effective, only gives up 1 hit. Williams, who scares everybody at this point in time, but he was able to do his job. 1 inning, 2 strikeouts, good job. And then David Bednar gives up a rocket to Trevor Larnach to make it 10-9 with only 1 out to go in that 9th inning. So it was very scary. I think most Yankee fans at that point in time were sitting there scratching their head going, what in the world's going on? Because you got to remember, the Yankees are still fighting for a division. I know that they were 5 games out coming into today, but you're still fighting for a division. And they're still 5 games out right now as Toronto beat, I believe, the Devil Rays. Holy crap. Where the hell am I? They beat the Rays. Yes, 2-1 in 11. Wow, that was a close game too. The Rays had the lead up until the 8th inning when the Toronto Blue Jays tied it up at 1, and then in the 11th, Toronto got the go-ahead run there. But Yankees are still trying to fight for that division, so they can't give away these games. They can't give away the games to Minnesota. They should have lost yesterday. Carlos Rodon pitched 6 good innings versus the Minnesota Twins. They should have been able to win that game. Instead, they bring the bullpen in, and Luke Weaver gives it away. And you basically say, we don't want this game. We'll fight another day. But you can't do that. You can't do it when the games are on the line the way they are. And I'm sorry, I was looking at yesterday's scoreboard. So it was 6-5. But still, regardless, it is a 5-game lead in the division. Now, that being said, one thing I did notice is that Anthony Volpe was back in the lineup. Now, offensively speaking, he was good. He was okay. 2 for 4, a double, a good single. even walked. No stolen bases, got a strikeout, got an RBI, scored 2 runs. Very solid day for Anthony Volpe. But here's the thing, and this is where we were at just the other day. Like, Jose Caballero has been doing a really good job at shortstop. He has been fine. He has been, obviously there's been some issues with the throws still. But is it all on Jose Caballero, or maybe the first baseman and Paul Goldschmidt is just doing a really crappy job these days? We sat there and watched Anthony Volpe, and we said, like, oh, well, it's funny. If you had someone who was able to scoop the ball, maybe like Pete Alonso, it's funny. Maybe Anthony Volpe's 20 errors would have turned into 10. But the fact of the matter is, Anthony Volpe hasn't been hitting either. It's been lackluster defensively, and offensively it hasn't been great. So he's got 2 hits today. That was good. That's a good sign. But is it good enough? And I'm asking you this. Is it good enough that now you want to see Anthony Volpe back in that shortstop spot position every single game? I don't think so. I don't think he's ready to come back. I don't think he is. It was a good sign to see him hit. But how many times have we seen him hit and he not come back? Too many times. And there's only 11 games left of the season. Like, we're not sitting here and saying, oh, well, we got a month to go. We got 2 months to go. We could work, give Volpe a little bit more time, see if he can figure it out. No, it's crunch time. And Jose Caballero basically said, to have more time under my belt at shortstop, it makes it easier, it makes it better, it makes it better for me. And now we're going to start giving more spots to Volpe. I think that's a wrong mindset. I think it's time to, the same way that Dominguez is not seeing any playing time, it's the same thing with Volpe. It's time to put these kids to the side for now. It's not saying see you later, you're never going to play ever again for the New York Yankees. But it's time right now to let the veterans take over, because these are the big boy spots where they need people to step up, and they can't have, and unfortunately, Volpe's in his head. Defensively, he's in his head. Offensively, at times, he's in his head. So you can't have it. I'm sorry. A good performance, 2 for 4, is not as good or impressive as what I could see Jose Caballero do. And he gives you that aspect of base stealing, which is huge, which is extremely huge in this day and age. Now, again, 10-9 victory for the Yankees. Currently, right now, the Yankees are sitting at that top wild card spot, 1.5 games over Boston. Boston and Houston are now tied at that second and third wild card spot. They both are the same record, 82 and 69. Now, is anybody still playing at those teams? Because that would help me out here. Let's see. Houston is winning. They're beating Texas right now, 6-5. So there's a possibility that Houston jumps up. Everyone's talking about, it's going to be Yankees. They're going to play the Red Sox. The Yankees are playing the Red Sox. Not so fast. Not so fast. The Red Sox lost to the Athletics. Okay? They lost 2-1 to the Athletics. And with that, they are now kind of in that spot where the Astros are about to take over by a half game if they win. And right now they have a 6-5 lead. Now they also are in a situation they're playing the Rangers. There's 2 runners on. There's 2 outs. It's in the 8th inning. Rangers have scored 4 runs to make it 6-5. Otherwise, it was 6-1 but before that. But, I mean, listen, this is a wild time. If you're excited about baseball, if you love baseball, this is, to just kind of, if you're home at this moment, if you're watching this live and you can find a way to put some of these games on, the next 11 games are going to be outrageous for everybody because everything is so neck and neck. That's the one positive about these more teams in the playoffs is the fact that they kind of are all bunched together and everyone is fighting for multiple things. The division's still up for it's up for the taking. The Yankees can find a way to take it. I know it feels like impossible with a 5-game lead, but it's not that far away. If the Blue Jays lose a couple games and the Yankees win, it's gonna be closer as you go. And again, you have 11 games against teams that you should beat. So I mean, the Yankees have an opportunity to go 11-0 to be realistic. To play the Twins, the White Sox, and the Orioles for 11 games. You can go 11-0. The Blue Jays, I mean, if they lose some games here, the Yankees can find themselves in the mix. That being said, though, the Astros, if they hold this out and they win, then you're looking right now that the Yankees would be taking on the Astros if the playoffs started today, right now. But we're not there, and the Astros haven't finished this game yet. So anything can happen. Let's get to the Mets real quick because the Mets jumped on Michael King rather early. You think about this. Michael King and Clay Holmes, 2 bullpen arms with the New York Yankees, now 2 starting pitchers for different teams. San Diego Padres, New York Mets. Funny enough, I thought the person that would have pitched less innings, and the plan was for him to pitch less innings, was Clay Holmes. I thought he would have gone less than Michael King, but Michael King got beat up. Now, this is only his second start, from what I understand, coming back off the IL, and the Mets pounced on him, which was fantastic. Hit after hit after hit between Lindor, between Soto, between Alonso, between Nimmo. You get a nice 1-0 lead. Vientos comes up in a double play, and it's like, are we only gonna score 1 run in this inning? You had a nice walk-off win, but you really need to have a breakout inning, and you need to follow that up with other breakout innings, right? You need to see that happen. You can't just have, we'll score 1 run early and then not score the rest of the game. You need to see something amazing happen. And Jeff McNeil comes up and hits a line drive down the right field line, basically down the chalk on the first base line, and scores 2 runs, 3-0. And then next thing you know, Brett Beatty comes up and pops a 2-run home run, and it's 5-0. And that's great. Now it's funny though. Clay Holmes comes in, the next batter, the next inning, gives up a solo shot, 5-1. And you're like, oh boy, is he going to hand this one right back? Is he about to give it right back? Next inning, Francisco Lindor. And this is what I finally love to see. It's not just we get 5 runs and then shut it off. Francisco Lindor comes up the next at bat and hits a solo home run and now 6-1. And it's like, okay, the Mets are looking to add on. This is not just going to be a simple, we score early and call it a day. They are they're locked in. And then that same inning, Pete Alonso hits a bomb. First 35th home run of the season. It was a second decker, no doubter, and it's 7-1 at this point in time. And again, it's like more insurance runs. Just keep on going because you never know. Clay Holmes can give it away. Sean Manaea, this experiment that Clay Holmes and Sean Manaea piggybacking, you never know if this is going to really work or not. The next inning, it's 7-1, and then again, Cronenworth with a solo shot. It's like, okay, they're chipping away. They're chipping away. That being said, though, that was the last run that Clay Holmes will give up. And they go to Sean Manaea in the 5th inning. Again, you think about the days for these two guys. You think about Clay Holmes and Sean Manaea, how effective they were. Clay Holmes, 53 pitches in 4 innings. 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts, 3 hits. Now, typically, we would sit there and say, what the hell? Like, why wouldn't you push him? 53 pitches. Let's see what you can get. Maybe get another 5th inning out of him, whatever. But typically, this is where he breaks down. So you put in Sean Manaea, and Sean Manaea goes 5 innings, the 1 home run that he gave up, 4 hits in total with that home run included, and 4 strikeouts and 71 pitches in 5 innings. I mean, it was an effective day for the Mets pitching staff. It really was. And this is something that I talked about early on in the season, saying you have a bunch of openers. Why don't you just combine them together? And they did that, and it was effective. Now, I don't know if you're going to be able to get away with that multiple times, but this looked good. Combine that with Nolan McLean, Brandon Sproat. I mean, that could be your, wild card series if you guys make the playoffs, if the Mets make the playoffs. McLean, Sproat, Manaea, and Holmes, and then you get to save your bullpen. You only need to go to your top guys when you really need them. It's not the worst plan in the world. I called for it in the beginning of the season, and I was like, "Oh, you're crazy." Well, yes, I am. And guess what? Crazy time. I'm crazy. It's crazy times because the Mets were going to fall out of the playoffs, and technically they did. If you go back a couple days ago, the Giants were a half a game in front of the Mets. It had happened. The Mets lost, and the Giants technically were a half a game in front of them. Mets were out of the playoffs. Now, it didn't last long. It lasted a couple of hours because I believe the Giants went on to lose that game, and they ended up getting pushed back. Whatever. That was enough. Maybe that woke up somebody and said, hey, we got to now win. There's no other choice. We got to win. And they've been doing that now the past 2 days. Is that enough? They need more winning. It's not enough. I mean, everyone's on their tail still. You talk about the playoff race with the American League, right? We're sitting there talking about trying to figure out who the Yankees are going to face. Is it going to be Boston? Is it going to be Houston? Cleveland's 2.5 games behind Houston. Texas, if they can come back and win, they're going to be 2 games behind Houston. I mean, it's a tight race here, right? Well, what about the NL? The NL right now, Mets cut into the San Diego lead, but not by much. I mean, the Padres are still 4 games ahead of the Mets in that second wild card spot. So I don't really see, even if the Mets sweep the Padres, we're still looking at a 2-game lead for the Padres over the Mets. Okay, that being said, let's look at the reality. Arizona currently right now 2 games behind the Mets. San Francisco 2.5 games behind the Mets. Cincinnati 3 because they lost to the Cardinals. But of course, Arizona, Diamondbacks, and the Giants are playing each other. Why wouldn't they be playing each other? And currently, right now, it is 5-5. So it's anybody's game. Either you're going to see Arizona win and, again, find a way to cut down another game, shave another half a game to the Mets, or the Giants cut a little closer. But, again, the Diamondbacks are ahead of them right now. So it's almost like it's you'd almost take the Giants win this evening, because that'd be beneficial to the Mets because it prevents the Arizona Diamondbacks from getting closer to the Mets. We want to prevent that. We want to prevent any team getting closer than they already are. The Reds losing 3-0 to the Cardinals, great news. Fantastic. The Giants in Arizona, they both can't lose today. That's the problem. If they both could lose, we'd be in a good spot. But we're not. That being said, listen, it was a good day for both locals. They both got wins. They both much needed wins. The Francisco Alvarez hit by pitch was the only negative really for the Mets. It was the tricep area that wasn't the bone. It wasn't the elbow. So that's good. And it sounds like they're not even going to go for x-rays. So you cross your fingers. Hopefully he wakes up. He's going to be sore, but hopefully he's not into severe pain. And it's the left elbow, not the right elbow. So it's not his throwing elbow. So that's good, but it's his receiving elbow, if that makes any difference. It really doesn't. Just don't be hurt. That's all I ask for. That being said, it was a good day for the locals. Let's keep on seeing if these teams can win, because crunch time here. There are 11 games left for both the Mets and the Yankees, and every game is important. They have to win. The Yankees still have a shot at the division. I know that sounds so outrageous, but there's 5 games. Until the Blue Jays clinch that division, the Yankees have to win every game. They have to, because you never know. Blue Jays can lose a couple games here and there, and you're right there. I understand it's easier said than done, and the Blue Jays got to lose a lot. But you know what? Maybe they're putting their feet up. Maybe they're relaxing a little bit. Maybe they don't care so much. The Yankees have to try to win the division, because I don't think they're set up well for these 3-game series. I really don't. You talk about Boston being a team that they might have to face in the first round. If you're playing a 3-game series versus the Red Sox and Garrett Crochet is facing the Yankees, it's basically a loss that one game. You have to win two other games. You have to win 2 games in a row. I don't know if the Yankees can withstand that. I don't know if the Yankees have back-to-back wins in them. If Garrett Crochet is going out there and taking the first game, I don't know if the Yankees have back-to-back wins in them versus the Red Sox. They've played them. Red Sox, for the most part, have played them very well this year. So it's a toss-up. You can't really bank on the fact that the Yankees are going to go out and destroy whoever that second and or third pitcher is that they're going to face. And you know how Judge has played in the playoffs. Not so great. So you don't really want to see that. And the Mets, they got to keep winning because they have to make the playoffs. We've heard this already. If you're not going to make the playoffs, it is going to be a problem. And David Stern said a lot of things today on his press conference about, if he was very happy with what he did at the trade deadline. Obviously, if he knew what was going to happen and how the outcomes were going to be, yeah, they would have had a different strategy maybe, but their strategy he thinks was effective. I think that you're full of crap. I think everyone knew that the New York Mets needed a hitting star, a solid hitting center fielder. I think everyone knew that. I think everyone knew that you needed to start in pitching. Yes, you end up going to and get lucky with Sproat and McLean being able to have those 2 guys you could call up, and they've been pitching well here, especially towards the end of the season. But, I mean, everybody knew what the Mets' problems were, but David Stern. That's a problem. David Stern's, whether you want to admit to it or not, you had a problem all season long with starting pitching, and your hitting is inconsistent, and there weren't enough top-level bats consistently hitting. Because there are top-level bats. They just go into funks. And they all go into funk at the same time. That's unacceptable. And to have added somebody that helped with the funk in a Cedric Mullins. I know he hit a home run today, which is great, but he's done nothing. He's batting .217 still. I know he's the 17th or 18th home run of the season, but he's hasn't been hitting. That was a terrible move. You could have gone other ways. Obviously, the Harrison Bader move you could have done, but there's other things you could have done, or not trade for a worthless center fielder. You gave up, again, 12 prospects for 4 players. 2 of them have been pretty much useless for you. One of them started well in Gregory Soto, and now he's fallen off. Tyler Rogers has been iffy at best. Cedric Mullins has been pretty much a nothing so far. And Ryan Helsley has actually done worse. He's lost games for you. He's been worse than a nothing. He's been a negative. That net negative. But, all right, listen, thank you again for following at Hoff WFAN. Go like, subscribe, all that stuff on YouTube. Thank you for listening to another episode of WFAN Daily, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with BT and Sal at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on WFAN. You could always check out everything and anything that you want at the Odyssey app, whether it's Boomer and Gio in the morning, whether it's BT and Sal after middays, whether it's Evan and Tiki middays, not middays, afternoon drive, whether it's Chris McMonagle in the overnights, whether it's Keith McPherson in the evenings. It's all there, Odyssey app. And if you want, you can get more podcasts. The Unkillable podcast, you can get the Rico Bronia podcast, you can get WFAN Daily. But thank you again for listening to another episode of WFAN Daily. I do appreciate it. I will see you guys tomorrow with hopefully more wins from the local teams, and we'll find out maybe some more stuff about the Jets and the Giants as week 3 is starting to not cripple around. What's the word? Starting to sneak around. There we go. I don't know. Something like that. Have a good night, everybody. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace.